Welcome or welcome back to We Rocket Math with Miss Catherine. For those of you who are new, welcome to this channel. On this channel, we have math videos that will help you solve math problems a bit more easy and faster. So please consider subscribing to this channel for more math content. There will be a link to the subscription channel down below. Make sure to check it out. Today we're going to do some rapid practice involving fractions with unlike denominators. If you haven't done so, or if you need a refresher, you can check the upper right corner for an instructional video for fractions with unlike denominators. So you can click the video in the upper right corner, and once you've reviewed, you can come back to this rapid practice and then solve the problems and see how many you can get correct. So the goal of these rapid practice problems is for you to get at least 5 out of the 6 problems correct. So this way you know that you have a good grasp on the concept. So this is going to be more of a skill practice, and if you need the instructional video, you can just click the upper right corner, and there will also be a link to the instructional video down below in the description. Let's look at our first example here. We have 3/7 plus 2 over 21. As a reminder, we want to follow these 3 steps. So we have change denominators so that they're the same number, add the numerators, then simplify. Looking at our first example, our denominator, we have 7 for the first one and 21 for the second one. It's always easier to look at the denominator that's larger than the other one and see if the other denominator is divisible by the larger one. So we're going to look at 21 first because 21 is larger than 7. Then you think if 21 can divide 7. If 7 can go into 21, which it can, so that means that that is our least common multiple. So let's write least common multiple is 21. Now that we found our least common multiple is 21, we change both denominators so that they're the same. 7 to 21, you have to multiply by 3. So multiply the first fraction, that denominator, by 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do the top. And you get 9 over 21 plus 2 over 21 equals 11 over 21. Last step, you check if you can simplify. We cannot, so that is our final answer. Let's go to number 2. We have 6/12 plus 1/8. So we compared the denominators. We see which denominator is larger, which should be this 12. Then we're going to look at multiples of 12 and see if 8 can be divided into that multiple. So starting with 12, 8 cannot be divided by 12. 8 does not go into 12. Then you look at the next multiple, which is 24. Yes, that works. So the least common multiple is 24. Now we have 24, and we're going to change both denominators to be 24. We're going to multiply 12 by 2 because 12 times 2 equals 24. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 6 times 2. So we've changed the first fraction. Now we have to change the second fraction as well. So you think, what number times 8 equals 24? Well, that would be 3. So 8 times 3 on the bottom, and in the numerator, 1 times 3. And you get 12 over 24 plus 3 over 24 equals 15 over 24. Now you think if you can simplify even further, which you can, looks like you can divide it even further and use the factor of 3. So we're going to divide top and bottom by 3. Which gives you 5/8. And that is our final answer, 5/8. Moving on to number 3, we have 9/14 plus 3/5. So compare the denominators, see which one is the bigger one, which would be 14. Then start looking at multiples of 14. 14 is the first multiple. Second multiple would be 28. 28, and 5 does not go into 28, so that doesn't work. Can't do that. They don't have that in common. Next multiple after 28 would be 52. 52 does not work either. 5 doesn't go into 52. How about 70? 70 is the next multiple. Yes, 70 works. 5 does go into 70. So our least common multiple would be 70. And you can always write out the multiples out if you need to. For example, we just went over the multiples of 14, which were 14, 28, 52, and 70. And we found out that 70 works because 5 can go into 70. Now we want to think 14 times what number equals 70? And that would be 5. So multiply the bottom by 5 and the top by 5. Then we want to change the second fraction. And for the second fraction, it would be 14. So we multiply the bottom by 14 and the top by 14. Now we just evaluate, simplify them. 45, 5 times 9 is 45, over 70 plus 42 over 70 equals 87 over 70, which can be converted into a mixed number. Easiest way to do that is just think how many times does 70 go into 87? One time. Then what is the remainder? Remainder is the top portion, the numerator. 87 minus 70, which would give you 17, and keep the denominator the same, which would be 70. So we have 1 and 17/70ths. And that is our final answer because we can't simplify this even further. Now let's look at number 4. We have 7/8 plus 2/10. 10 is the larger denominator. Then you start to think of multiples of 10. And if 8 can be divided into one of those multiples of 10. So the first multiple of 10 would be 10. Then moving on, it would be 20. 8 does not go into 20. Then you move on. 30. That doesn't work either. How about 40? Yes, 40 works. So our least common multiple is 40. Now we have to convert both fractions, so that denominator is 4. Now you have to think 8 times 5 equals 40. Then multiply the top also by 5. Then the second fraction, 10 times 4 is 40. Then multiply the top also by 4. And you get 35 over 40 plus 8 over 40 equals 43 over 40. And again, the numerator is larger than the denominator, and when that happens, you can turn this fraction into a mixed number. So you think how many times does 40 go into 43? It'd be 1 time. Then what's remaining? It would be 3, because 43 minus 40 is 3. Keep the denominator the same. And that is our final answer, because 3 cannot go into 40. So we have 1 and 3/40. Let's look at number 5. Number 5, we have 12/20 plus 4/6. We see the larger denominator is 20. Multiple of 20, the first multiple would be 20. Then moving on would be 40. 6 does not go into 40. So you think of the next multiple, which would be 60. And 60 does work. So the least common multiple would be 60. Times 3 is 60, and multiply the top also by 3, And the second fraction, 6 times 10 is 60, and 4 times 10, and simplify, we have 36 over 60 plus 40 over 60, or 40/60 equals 76 over 60, which equals, turn it into our next number, 1 and 16/60, which can be simplified even further. Let's try putting 4. So top would be 4. If you divide top and bottom by 4, bottom would be 15. So we have 1 and 4/15 as our final answer. Our very last problem, 15/16 plus 10/48. Our larger denominator of the two is 48. So then we think, how do we turn the 16 to 48? Well, you just multiply it by 3. Then multiply the top by 3, and you get 45 over 48 plus 10/48 equals 55 over 48. Change into mixed number, and you get 1 and 7. And that is our final answer, since it can't be simplified any further. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what other topics you would like to see. Until then, see you next time. Thanks everyone.